My name is Ryan Cleary, Member of Parliament, St. John South Mount Pearl. This is your weekly video blog update. To begin this week, I gave a 10-minute speech in the House of Commons on the need for a national infrastructure program. At any given time in Newfoundland and Labrador, we have between 100 and 150 towns that are under boil water advisories. And the main reason is because the towns can't afford to fix their water problems. So municipalities right across Canada are looking for long-term, predictable funding. And that was my main point in my speech. Let's show the clip.
The rural way of life is a different way of life, a more rugged way of life. Rural infrastructure needs are different than urban infrastructure needs. Both are just as important. On any given day in Newfoundland and Labrador, there could be 100 to 150 towns with boil water advisories. 100 to 150 towns with boil water advisories because the towns don't have the money to fix the water problems. We've got traffic gridlock. We've got failing water systems. We've got potholed roads. We've got an infrastructure deficit, calculated as the total amount of investments needed to maintain and replace decaying municipal infrastructure of $171 billion, Mr. Speaker.
I also asked another question in the House of Commons this week about Marine Atlantic and the Marine Atlantic rate increases. On April the 1st, the rates for Marine Atlantic, commercial and passenger rates, are destined to go up by 4%. Now, I recently took a trip on Marine Atlantic from Port aux Basques to North Sydney, and for myself, for my Jeep and an overnight berth, it cost $560 round trip. That's ridiculous. Now it's going up by another 4%. Let's show my question.
The honourable member for St. John South Mount Pearl.
Mr. Speaker, Marine Atlantic ferry rates are increasing on April the 1st. The fee hikes spell trouble for passenger travel in Newfoundland and Labrador, damaging our crucial tourism industry. We just reached the $1 billion mark, Mr. Speaker. The trucking industry has said they can't absorb a hike in commercial rates. Higher costs will be passed on to consumers. The price of goods will most definitely increase. Mr. Speaker, why are the Conservatives pricing the ferries out of service and making life more expensive for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians?
The Honourable Minister.
Last week, I gave a 10-minute speech in the House of Commons on the need for a national housing strategy. We've got a housing crisis on the Northeast Avalon, in St. John's, in places like Goose Bay, in places like Labrador West, in places like Fort McMurray, right across this country. So the National Housing Strategy called on all levels of government, federal, municipal, provincial, to come together and come up with a strategy. The Conservatives voted against it. And then this week we had some information that was put on Canada Housing and Mortgage Corporation website talking about how the strategy would have cost a fortune, millions and millions of dollars, when that's not the case at all. It was all about coming up with a strategy. So I posed a question on that this week. Also this week, I was on Power and Politics, the national CBC show, and I was on that show talking about student debt and the fact that the federal government over the past 3 or 4 years have written off more than $540 million in student debt. They can't get the money back from students. There are two reasons for that. The first reason is the fact that the average student debt federally for students across this country is between $27,000 and $28,000. That's too much. The other problem is the fact that new graduates, young Canadians, young Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, they can't get well-paying jobs to pay back that student debt. So it's been a very busy week, but it's been a very good week. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next week for your update.